Jim Cornette has become a bit of a legend in the podcast wrestling community and obviously a legendary figure in management in wrestling. However, someone said to me, you've got to listen, if you never have, to The Lies of Hulk Hogan YouTube video by Jim Cornette and Brian Last. And I was like, why? He said, it's just hilarious, just listen. So today we're going to do a reaction video to Hulk Hogan's Lies, listened to and read by Brian Last. Let's have a look. And Jim Cornette.
Wrestling legend Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
On Twitter at Alan_Cheapshot, a friend of mine, a friend of the
Alan
show,
Cheapshot.
did a thread entitled Hulk Hogan's Lies Over the Years. Did you see any of this?
I saw the initial tweet, and I didn't follow the thread because I've heard many of the lies, but we can go over them here if you'd like.
All right, well, here are some of them, and Alan does a good job researching these, so I'm sure these are all accurate. The wrestler-director Darren Aronofsky offered him the lead role 3 times. Hogan claims he turned it down because he didn't deserve it. Aronofsky categorically denies that Hogan was ever considered for the role.
Well, besides
Brilliant.
the fucking hell. Can you see the footage where he's working at the deli and he gets mad at the meat slicer and everything? There's a 6'8" fucking 325-pound Hulk Hogan's working there. That wouldn't be distracting from the overall story of the movie. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan was an all-state pitcher in high school, and he was scouted by both the New York Yankees and the Cincinnati Reds, but an injury prevented him from signing with either team.
His reaction
my God.
is just
Yeah,
gold
the
dust,
injury was when the fucking scout that was looking at him went blind.
He would have been too big, wouldn't he?
Yeah, by the way, how much did he hate Randy Savage? So much that he made up a story about being scouted by the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes. Who Randy Savage actually was and did play for the minor league affiliate of, et cetera, et cetera. And right. So now I've never even heard that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I never heard that one either. Here's another one. Oh, this is an interesting one for you. Hulk Hogan claims he's the one who first noticed Kevin Owens' potential. Here's a quote. Well, I hate to brag about it, but I'm the first one to point the finger at Kevin Owens. And then Alan wrote, after a decade of solid work on the indies.
I was about to say, I guarantee you people were talking about Steen for good and bad before Hulk Hogan had ever heard of him.
He was Kevin Steen. There's no way Hogan knew who Kevin Steen was. Hulk Hogan starred in the movies Mr. Nanny and Santa with Muscles. Hogan claims he rewrote both scripts entirely, only to have his writing credits stolen from him by the Dastardly Writers Guild. I don't know that one either. I never heard that great.
Well, because you have never heard all of Hulk Hogan's lies unless you've heard every word that's ever come out.
Does he really lie that much? I know he exaggerates and embellishes, but there's a difference between that and lies, isn't there? You know, cold, hard lies versus exaggerating the truth.
Pride Fighters in the 70s.
What?
Pride Fighting Championship was founded in 1997.
There was no such thing as pride.
I love when Jim's voice goes high pitched because you just know it's genuine, like real genuine reaction. Plus, he don't care, does he?
Strings. That was the whole deal about Hogan.
Brian Last is brilliant as his co-host.
Hogan is that they weren't sure at the beginning because he was just a big guy that played in a band, right? He had the size, but he wasn't an athlete or didn't have any credentials, it seemed, like all the other guys.
As you can tell in the background, I was a bit of a Hogan fan growing up, but you can't deny when someone lies. You got to listen to it, ain't you? Plus, I'm not one of those who stays true to just being a fan of someone just because you once was. If you get proven lies, you got to listen to him.
Playing baseball, how was he going to learn how to be a tough guy?
Lord.
Hulk Hogan claims he was the first to slam Andre the Giant, that Andre weighed 600 pounds when Hogan body slammed him, and the lie that Andre died a few days after the slam. Hogan also claimed that he tore 18 muscles in his back slamming Andre.
Are there 18 muscles in your back?
I was just about to say, I don't think there is 18 muscles in your back.
He didn't tear a goddamn thing slamming Andre, because as we've mentioned many times, Andre went
your
up
lat muscles
for him.
will take up the majority
Because that was the
of your
original
back.
finish, and he didn't weigh 600 pounds. He was barely, over 5 at his death.
I've done a video on the channel before about who slammed Andre, so I know that one. Loads of people did it before him. At least 10 to 15 people, actually. I put 10 in the short.
The I Slammed Andre Club, way before Hogan. That was probably, besides the fact before WrestleMania 3 in 1987, that was probably the last slam Andre may have ever taken.
No.
That's a good point.
Ultimate Warrior got him a whole bunch of times.
In those 30-second matches or whatever the fuck. But point is, that wasn't even the first time that Hogan had slammed Andre.
No. That's also in the short that I did before. When Hogan was way younger, I've got him slamming Andre.
Kamala slammed Andre, and Cornette slammed Andre, and Harley Race slammed Andre, and Inoki. The best one was probably Kamala. He held him there for a few minutes. Whoever Andre wanted to slam him got to slam him. Anybody he didn't want to slam him didn't get to slam him.
According to the Hulkster, he partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2 in 1986. John Belushi sadly died in 1982. He has no shame. He just says anything.
And because you know why? Because WrestleMania 2 was in New York.
I'm not defending him though, but there's a difference between having a bad memory and blatant lies. I can't see him making that up. That one. He must have it wrong with someone else.
Poor John had been dead for 4 years at that point.
Hulk Hogan, and there's a clip here of Hulk Hogan wrestling The Undertaker. Hulk Hogan told The Undertaker that he had caused permanent damage to his neck by botching the Tombstone piledriver. The Undertaker believed him for the better part of 2 years before finally seeing a tape of the match, which clearly showed Hogan's head came nowhere near the chair.
Never.
Yeah, I know about that one. It's actually on The Undertaker's podcast recently, where Taker admitted pulling him in the back, saying, "Your neck was nowhere near. You had me so tight, brother, you jammed my neck." It's playing the game, isn't it? Sure, you've done it in your industry, whatever work industry you work in. If I say a little line, it might not be as good on that guy as he looks. That's just playing the game. That don't bother me, that doesn't.
Hulk Rules, an album released by Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Band. There's a picture of it here. One of the most famous tracks from the album is the tribute song Hulkster in Heaven. According to Hogan, he met a very ill Make-A-Wish kid in England and got him a ticket to SummerSlam at Wembley Stadium to watch him wrestle in the main event. Hogan wasn't at SummerSlam. He wasn't in the UK at the time.
Oh my God. Surely he didn't lie about a kid with a poorly kid.
Making up Make-A-Wish stories. Hulk Hogan claimed that he was asked to join a startup company known as UFC. While UFC wasn't nearly as popular as it is today, Hogan said he wouldn't have joined because, quote, guys got beat up when the fight should be stopped. While in WCW, Hogan said a pay-per-view bout between himself and Mike Tyson was supposed to commence. Hogan's excuse as to why it didn't happen? Tyson was too scared.
What?
Hulk Hogan.
And obviously, well, wait a minute. I was about to say neither one of those
it's
two
a work,
things
damn it. It's a
ever
work.
remotely occurred. And the UFC, so Hogan was going to leave Vince in 1993, and instead of going to WCW, he was going to just say, well, I'll just after 15 years.
Plus Tyson ended up in WWF for a bit, didn't he? With Stone Cold and DX. Oh, no idea what that means.
This is Hoist Gracie.
Or Royce Racy.
Royce Racy.
Tyson's 58, and I don't think there's still a human he's scared of alive.
All right, well, let's get back to this man's lies. Hulk Hogan claimed on an episode of Hogan Knows Best that the reason he didn't get the offer for the George Foreman grill was because he was out picking up the kids from school. That's not the way business works, folks. That's not the way it works. Hulk Hogan did claim that back in his heyday, he wrestled in 400 days in 1 year.
And this is my favorite.
Hogan claimed that since he traveled so frequently between the United States and Japan, the time difference made the 400 days a possibility. I never saw that one before.
You didn't know that's the one I always bring up. You
Oh.
never saw that one?
I never ever saw that one.
No,
What?
that's the greatest thing because obviously there is some small germ of truth in the concept of part of this, in that because of the international date line and the time of the trip, when you fly to Japan, you arrive, I can't remember which way it is, but you either arrive a day later or a day early. You know what I'm saying.
Really?
When you because you fly across the international date line, so you
I'm gonna have
either
to
arrive
Google
the
that.
day later than you should have. You've skipped a day or you've made up a day. But the point is, what he's trying to say is that he was working 400 days in 1 year, not 400 times, but 400 days in 1 year, because he would fly back from Japan across the international date line
But it would
and
reset.
wrestle twice on a Tuesday, ignoring the fact that if you were then to go the other way, you would lose the day that you just picked up. So it's not mathematically possible anyway.
That's why I
So
just
yes,
said it would
that's
reset,
my
wouldn't
favorite.
it?
Like he's Superman flying around the world at the equator to reverse the spin of the Earth and turn back time.
Well, maybe he did that in this one, too. In Hulk Hogan's autobiography, he made the claim that Elvis was a huge Hulk Hogan fan before Hogan joined the WWF. He did work in Memphis. However, Elvis died in 1977.
Yes. Elvis died before Terry Bollea ever got a wrestling lesson.
Oh my
So
word!
Elvis was
really?
not a fan of Hulk Hogan because there was no
Oh,
such
that's
person.
brilliant.
And Elvis was a wrestling fan, and we've documented that. And he used to love to sneak in the Ellis Auditorium and watch.
Everybody loves wrestling. Come on, how entertaining is it? It's like a constant movie, ongoing for life. I mean, you can't beat that, can you? If you like watching your favourite movie, but it's new every week and it's constant, I mean, how good is that storyline, really?
Of a story, he hears something that was real. He's in
Yes.
Memphis and he hears, oh, when he was alive, Elvis used to always watch wrestling. We knew that.
Yeah.
And then he just puts himself in the story?
Yeah, he puts himself in the story as he sees fit.
Hulk Hogan claims that both Metallica and the Rolling Stones wanted him as their bass player. Metallica member Lars Ulrich apparently came to Hogan himself to ask him to play with the group.
Lars Ulrich's comments were, what?
Hulk Hogan claimed he had been offered and turned down a so-called Legends match at WrestleMania 22. The alleged match? Hulk Hogan versus Greg Valentine. They were never
What?
going to do that as a Legends match at a WrestleMania.
No. And what 22 was what? That 17 was in Houston 2001. So 22 was
20 was New York, 21 was LA. I forget what 22 would have been.
Which one did he fight The Rock at?
But about 2006.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't going to happen. You think, was he just trying to be nice to Greg that day? Was Greg
Was it 18,
on
The
site
Rock?
when he was doing that interview?
It is just so interesting how he just seems to say anything. He claimed he was blacklisted from Hollywood because he turned down a gay producer's advances in the 1980s.
What?
He came up with the idea for the NWO, but he wanted it to be him, the Booty Man, and the Nasty Boys.
Now that one I believe.
Nah,
I do
that
believe
can't
that.
be real.
If you had Brian Blair in there, I really believe it.
Yes, I believe that one.
That can't be real.
And that would have been just swell.
Hulk Hogan, what is happening?
Pause it there. I think in summary, a lot of that is an exaggeration of some probably small truths in there. And then there is some outrageous bullshit. And let's be honest, there is some outrageous bullshit to put yourself over. I suppose that's how he stayed relevant for so long, to some degree, in the wrestling world and elements of the mainstream. I mean, the guy's just done a gimmick at Trump's rally, hasn't he? So he's still somehow still relevant, putting yourself over. Good video. I think these two are a great combo. I know they've been together years. I have obviously listened to a lot of the podcast, but I don't know about odd ones like this going far back. I'm going to do some more reactions because you know what I miss? The Jim Cornette rants when he just goes off. I think he's mellowed out, it seems, his podcast a little bit. I know there's occasions where it still comes out, but the big rants on Russo and that, I might have to play them because they were just epic. But this was a good video. 2 million views, by the way. 2 million views. He's up to 430,000 subs. Not many wrestling channels can say that. But that's the hope. One day, it'll take years of grinding, but that's the hope for No Camp Dad Wrestling. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want more reaction videos like this. And me going through the archives of any kind of video like this. Maybe Jim Cornette, maybe someone else. Put some names in the comments. Can you react to this, and or pull up this for me, and I'll have a look through it. But yeah, your likes, comments, and subs go a long way. Thanks so much for your support. Take it easy. Bye-bye.